Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Saturday sMAPdown. That is right, today we do have some brand new maps ready to show you, never before played on, at least on video or on YouTube as far as I'm aware. Certainly people have been playing them to playtest them. This will be the first few games on YouTube featuring these brand new maps, though. A big shout out, of course, to Gaia, as always. I'm sure we're all familiar with that name by now, but perhaps more importantly, another shout out to the main guy behind this set of maps. Of course, we do have 7 new ones. There is a video on the ESOC channel if you're interested. The main guy behind these is Riki Poo, who made 5 of the total 7. Gaia making the other 2. So yeah, these will be hitting ESOC patch pretty soon, I imagine, ready for rated games to be played on. Another big shout out to the ESOC patch team for getting this all ready. Sorry, the ESOC map team, but I suppose the patch team as well. That would make sense. Of course, we'd need both of those guys to those teams to get this out. But today, Euroshik versus Ramex12 are our competitors. But sadly, Zuta did have a disconnection in game 2. So only half of it has commentary, but I put the full game in this video anyway if anyone wanted to see how it turned out, even though we didn't cast the second half of that match. All of the other games in this series do have full commentary to the end, as usual though, and you can skip to any of the map chups played, using the timestamps in the description below, though do be careful, as looking at those can ruin the outcome of a series if you plan to watch them all in order. Game number 3 was my favourite, though, well worth watching if perhaps you only have time for one match. Game number 3 has Spain in it, and as we all know, I really like Spain. So, without further ado, enjoy the series.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is that time of the week, time for Saturday Smackdown. We are here, as you can see, in Game Ranger, getting ready to go. Going to be playing some LAN games because ESO is currently not working. There's a bit of like a Coliseum beatdown going down on ESO. Once you leave, it's like last man standing. You can't get back on the server.
Oh, you can't get back in? Oh, right. Yeah. Is that how it's working?
That's how it's going. I
love that bug.
if you're going to be coming from Aze's stream, or if you're currently watching Aze's stream, there's like, I think there's 122 people still online when they were playing, so it was like him and Venny and a couple like random guys.
Yep.
And
Are you ready?
slowly... Could you hear him that time?
Yep, that's why I said Frank-a-Z. Your chat's gonna be filled with dogs in a moment.
I know. I went and knocked on that guy's door earlier today and tried to like talk to him and like tell him like, hey, like you should probably just take that dog outside because it's clearly not happy. And then I came to the realization that he's not even there. Like he's just leaving that dog there, and it's just barking like crazy while he's gone. So.
Oh, Bible thumps in the chat. That is.
Yeah, I know. So, like, that
good.
dog is just sitting with and that dog went wild. I went over there and knocked on his door, and that dog went absolutely apeshit. Like, just... His mind was blown that someone was knocking on the door. And so I figured I should stop doing that, because it was obviously pissing him off.
Yeah, or he thought it was the guy coming back, or something like that. You know, people have got to follow this. Got to follow Zuta and the dog. I think you should give us an update every single week on the progress of the dog, and if things do keep going on, maybe we'll have to take action, or you will.
Yeah. Well, I've after Smackdown today, I'm definitely writing to like the property management and saying like, this dog has got to shut up, because it's not just like on Saturday. It's like when I'm at home after work. It's just 24/7. That dog is just sitting at the door barking. I'm pretty sure it's I'm pretty sure it's anytime that guy's not home, which seems to be quite frequently. That dog just sits there and barks and barks and barks and barks. So. It's not like good for the dog. It's not good for my ears. It's not good for like. I can't imagine that any of my neighbors, like any of the people like in this little area, is overly happy. So
no, they're not going to be pleased with that dog. But I think we're almost ready. And Colorado is our first map, one that we have not seen before. But just a quick note on that bug, the whole last man standing bug. Do not sign out of ESO if you're currently signed in and you want to play games on ESO. And also, the best way to troll people with that bug is to ask them if ESO is working. And then they almost always log out and then can't get back in.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why I said that. People are going to do that now.
Oh shit, is it really broken? And then they log out.
You're like, GG!
Pretty soon there will be like 6 people left online. And and then like it'll be last man standing. Like just like 6 conscripts will have, like be down to them, and they'll just
I wonder how
realize
many
that.
people actually are just idle on ESO at all times. Because I remember back in the clan days when I had a clan, and I would host a clan chat, you know, like, and you'd leave your PC on just to host like a little chat browser. And I wonder how many people just like chill on ESO and don't actually do anything ever.
Probably quite a few. I used to. I know I used to do the same thing. Like I would just leave my computer running.
Yeah. Looks like though deck. Yes, deck chaos. That's the whole. This is Game Ranger, isn't it? Your decks are not safe.
It's a single player.
Yeah, when you sign into ESO, you just like you're like blessed with the fact that your multiplayer decks are always there. Here looks like they've constructed decks, though we are ready to begin, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Saturday's Smackdown. Game number 1 between Euroshik and Ramex. The launching game little box does not cover the names of the players. On land.
In land, yeah.
That's I'd like to have that on ESO. That's a luxury, that is Zuta. But Colorado is our first map. This is the first screening, the first ever time a competitive game is being played on Colorado on stream. I'm sure people have been playtesting the map before now, but this map is brand new. We have not seen it before on Smackdown, and I believe there are 7 new maps created by ESOC, and when I say by ESOC, I mean by a number of actual people within the community. Gaia made a lot of the maps before, but I believe some new names. Do you know the names, Zuta?
Rikikipu, yeah. Rikikipu's actually made 5 of these 7 maps. So,
wow, that's a lot.
I'm not sure which of the 5 are his, but hats off to him, because obviously a bunch of these maps are going to be his that we're going to be seeing today. So should be pretty exciting to watch these maps play out. Of course, anytime there's new content to be explored, makes for a kind of an interesting time period while people try and figure out the maps and stuff like that. And well, we'll see what happens here in Colorado. My first impression is a good one. It looks like a pretty interesting map.
My first impression is that I haven't looked around and I've put the Control-Shift-F on, because I saw in the blue player's base he had a 20 coin and a 30 coin, and I thought, do they always give you muskrat treasures exactly equal to 50? And then I flipped over to the blue player's base, and the answer is no. They have a 40 wood treasure guided by a bear, which I imagine is probably one of the better ones, though you do have to use your crack shot, and that means you cannot use it on other treasures, and that therefore is going to make it strictly a lot worse than just an ordinary 40 wood treasure. Also a 10 coin treasure. But as far as starts are concerned, we do have the Iroquois player going for a trading post there. This is RE patch. They can do that. We are not on ESOC patch today because of Game Ranger. So shenaniganry with this is traditional Iroquois. I'm kind of looking forward to this.
Shit, I don't have my UI installed either.
Do you not? You'll have to get that installed for the next one. Okay. I will have to carry you for this one then, I suppose. Yeah. But we do have a trading post coming out of Iroquois for the first one. French going to be going for the early market there. Could have gone for a trading post, has not done that by the looks of it. Well, actually, I'm not sure on the wood starts. Perhaps that was it. Iroquois, as we can remember from RE patch, always can get a trading post, whereas it doesn't matter what the wood start is because you have the travois, right? But that's the start so far. Looks like we are going to be waiting for Ramex, who is a very strong player, name that I've heard good things about in the past. But Zuta, do you want to tell us about the map? What are your first impressions? So
the first thing I want to say is I was almost about to commend Urashik for playing Iroquois and being like, wow, he's really brave, like playing Iro. And then I remembered which patch we were on. And I'm like, oh well, all right. So maybe he's not so brave playing Iro.
Not so brave after all.
There's a couple of things that I've noticed about this map that I immediately like. The first interaction I like with the trade post is that each player has a relatively safe trade post in their base.
Yep.
And then the second trade posts are exposed in the middle of the map, but it's kind of got this like clockwise play to it, right? Where you have to decide maybe whether you want to defend the 2 that are closest to your base. So for Red, it would be like this one and the one he currently has over here, or whether or not you want to like defend your top half of the map and try and get the 2 on the north side of the map under your control. These 2 trading posts, it's 2 routes. I didn't even notice that.
Hold up.
Interesting.
Hold the phone. Is it actually?
Yeah, it's 2 routes. I didn't even notice that until I saw that there's a gap.
Oh, they're 2 travois guys, and they meet in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going to go. Watch, they just go, and they're gone.
And they're teleporting.
Back to the beginning. But that's interesting. That means if you upgrade the route on your side, you do not upgrade it for your opponent, which is actually very, very significant. And because it's, you know, only you, it's actually more worthwhile investing in, you could argue, some of the time.
Yeah. It's that makes it very interesting, because now, like, this side, right, belongs to this red TP,
Yeah.
which makes it considerably more difficult to defend, because that's quite close to the blue player by, you know, just screen length. It's only barely a screen length away. Pretty easy, I think, for the blue player to harass that should he need to. And as a result, I think it'll make kind of an interesting interaction. If I do have one complaint about the current map pool in the ES maps, and it's maybe not a complaint, it's maybe just an observation, is that there's a lot of very good trading post maps.
Yeah.
And civs that do well on trading post maps as a result, I think have better pickings in terms of maps. So it'll be interesting to see how that TP meta and the current metagame that we're kind of involved with, you know, with the mass TPs, the excessive amounts of stagecoach, stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see how these maps compare and how they perhaps will maybe shake up that meta a little bit.
Yeah, Blue there putting his villagers in the town centre, killing off the bear there, and we did have a small interaction between the scout and the red units, but did not take the opportunity to do any damage to it. But yes, it's interesting. I want to see how that unfolds, how different civs are going to deal on this map with the fact that there are two trading sites. And I said earlier that it's, you know, perhaps more worthwhile investing in because it's separate routes. But actually, come to think of it, because they're separate, if you want to control 3 of the routes and you upgrade it, actually only the 2 that are sort of on your half of the map, and then the extra one that you might want to control, say this one if you're red, which actually is on Blue's route, if Blue does not upgrade that route, then you're going to have a third TP that's not nearly as useful. So that's another interesting point, and I'm looking forward to see how the civilizations currently in the game interact on this map. But Blue has found the Iroquois war hut and is going to start sieging it down with the additional damage. Look at that. He knows it's about to get up and is getting away, so that, of course, he does not take too much damage on the retreat there. There's the 4 Kanya horsemen as well. Quick hot pursuit of the scouts and the explorer running away, and looks like we do have Great Coach just about to get in for the blue player. He knows that he needs that. And, of course, against the Iroquois, the HP on his village is probably going to be very useful up against a civilization that is so fast. Minutemen do come out already.
Yeah, probably should be forcing back the Kanya here. I think it's ill-advised for the Kanya to stay here and fight against the Minutemen. Of course, a good timing by Ramix.
Wow, did you see that crack shot? Holy balls.
Did he just, like, splash all the HP down on the Minutemen?
On the Minutemen, yeah.
Yeah. It's quite sickening. It looks like Ramix is going to get his stable up,
this is why he didn't retreat. He knew the Tomahawks were coming. And look at that, the Rex does go down. Only the stable for Ramix, as you were saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is still going to be very, very difficult for Ramix here. 600 wood coming for Rashik as his next card, so he's not going to keep up the immediate pressure, which will give the French player a little bit of time to breathe. Fortunately for the French player as well, his herding has been quite good. We can see that he's got tons of these Garja goats right up next to his town center, and as a result, should be able to deal with this pressure pretty good, popping the low HP Minutemen into the town center. And it looks like he's going to be able to keep most of them alive. Now, at the same time, he did get his
gets
stable
out with
up.
28 HP.
He's got his 700 wood here on the floor. Should be able to get his racks up and some Minutemen, and some, there's that damn dog, and his racks up, starting to produce some crossbows. And as a result of that, I think he should be okay. I think actually this is a position that French in this matchup is okay with being in. Yeah. He's got good infrastructure. His building placement is actually excellent. If you take a look at both of his flanks are well covered by his buildings. His houses are in fairly safe, stable positions. And look at how his racks and his market just encloses all of his food here in the side. I really like Blue's positioning with his buildings, keeping his front open so that he has room to maneuver his cavalry units so that they can get around behind the Anna. And here come the 8 crossbowmen. I think he's going to be perfectly fine here.
Yeah, looks like he's managed to get the units he needs to stabilize there. Looks like not going to have too many problems, especially with all of these goats that are definitely well herded in his base. Does get all the infrastructure up. 8 crossbows, though. That is the stabilizing shipment, I suppose, there. And, you know, this is the interesting thing. Has Yuroshik done enough early damage? I don't think he has. But then again, we are playing with robots got patch Iroquois here, and the extra XP from this trading post is definitely very relevant. 5 villagers coming in, and it's going to have no problem transitioning into sort of the late game economy here. I don't think Iroquois is by any means out, and the economy population is going to be very even here, and the rest of the game is still really in anyone's favor. French, though, didn't roll over on his back, and that's what we saw in that early portion.
Yeah, an important thing to mention here that perhaps went under the radar, especially by me because we didn't have, or I don't have my UI in, is that I believe he sent 600 wood, the Euro player did, after his initial Fort Kanya shipment, which allowed him to get up his stable and, like you mentioned, keep his economy up. It's going to allow him to continue to produce, whereas the French player did have to send 8x, but we can see he's been playing very defensively in his base. So a slightly more economic play out of the Euro player in general, and as a result, able to stabilize a little bit off of that. So like you mentioned, certainly the Euro player not in any big hurt here. He's going to be able to continue to proceed forward. He's going to be able to make plenty of units out of this stable in the forward war hut, of course, that he got when he aged up. And it's going to come down to him now to just the resource control game, right, like it often does. Unfortunately, that's a game that French is fairly comfortable playing. We can see he's got great coats already on his villagers, 243 hit points. And as a result of that, should be able to control this top hunt without too much problem now that his military mass is getting to an acceptable level. And then, then we're going to start to talk about, eventually this hunt and probably this hunt as the game continues to progress, the next 4, 5, 6 minutes that are going to be the major points of contention here. But it looks like Jurashik, moving up, going to be trying to force some sort of little engagement.
Yeah, it looks like 7 ANA have arrived, and that is time for him to go. Oh dear, there are a lot of red units incoming here, including the new clubman, including the Honcho, the pet grizzly, and the one he managed to tame, the ordinary grizzly here. But kiting back with the musketeers and the cavalry, going to be fighting against, getting the Cuereras involved here, can use the extra XP, and actually I think that's going to be what he needs to swing it.
Yeah, and that was actually a really good move by him, running up, sniping the war chief, getting him down, and allowing his Hussar to get around the back and get into a good position. This is exactly where French wants to be. Sure, he's losing a little bit of gather time with these CDB, probably going to even drop 1 or 2 of them in this fight. Yep. But when the dust clears, when all is said and done, he's going to have won this fight fairly convincingly. I don't even think he lost any
several cav left over as well. Whether or not, well, let's take a look at the ult bar. Yes, several of them very, very low hit points. Imagine if Red had managed to just quickly snipe those ones down there, but that is not the case. These have done so much sponging, and look at their hit points, 243. If that damage had been done on the CDBs to actually the military units, that fight could have been more even towards the end, especially if those cavalry had been killed towards the end. Those Aena wouldn't have been able to be pursued quite as far out, but still, Blue doing a really good job getting that, protecting that there.
Yeah, and I've been very impressed with Ramix's French play here so far. Really good control of his units, a very good understanding of working with his CDBs, using them as a very valuable resource, a very valuable piece of his composition. And now he looks to have the upper hand here. His Hussar continuing to push out. He's going to have several of them left to be able to dispatch some of these Aena. And his infantry number is still in a pretty beefy number as well. It looks like he's going to be able to clean up this fight. He's gotten back out to the important areas, right? He's been able to control this hunt. He's going to be able to continue to gather food, and he's even paved the way for the ability to gather from this hunt, which sets him up to be in a really good position, moving forward here for the next several minutes of this game.
Yep, 700 coin does arrive here now for the blue player, and this is a decision point in the game. I don't think he's going to want to go up at this point, considering Red could still bounce back with units if he continues to create them and push into him, and if he loses the hunt location that Zuta pointed out, that could end the game there. With this coin, I imagine it's going to be more for military unit production. Red does come back in, though. He's going to keep the harass hot. He's going to keep the blue player working. He's going to use the Aena to do a bit of extra damage. Doesn't manage to get quite in there to sort of get a volley off, but I can see he's moving around trying to keep the blue player moving. What do you think the 700 coin is for, Zuta?
Yeah, it's almost certainly going to be for unit production at this point, and I think with that 700 coin he's going to do something like get out a big batch of Hussar and maybe 10 muskets or something like that, and then just push. Yeah, there comes the big batch of Hussar. Let's see if he gets 8 or 10 muskets here in this next batch here as well. Yep. And then I think that's a great timing for him to push. He's won several fights in a row. He's been doing a number on Jurashik in terms of efficiency and in just these little fights. And with that 700 coin swing, I think now is a very opportune moment for him to strike and start to apply some pressure. At the very least, get back out on the map, get some sort of harass down. Jurashik, the red player, starting to push himself out a little bit as well, right? He's now going to be in the position where he's not going to have a ton of safe hunts himself, and I think this is it. I think this is the moment in time where the French player has survived in his base for long enough, and just looking at these compositions, I think French is just going to steamroll this fight, honestly.
Yep, Steel Trap's efficiency and the good fights that happened early on, the good trades in space with the mini-men. The mini-men? Yep, we do have the defining fight of the game, possibly then, as you're saying. It looks like that the military unit population is in favor of blue. I'm not sure the rest of red's units are, but either way, in this fight right now, these AN are going to get surrounded by the cavalry, and there's nothing they can do with it, giving us a 13-minute game, a win. First game going to Ramix.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up that it's a 13-minute game, because the pressure starts so early, feels so much longer, right? Yeah. I mean, a lot of the games we're used to in the current meta don't start until like the 7.5, 8-minute mark because of like the kind of fortress interactions that we're used to seeing. And so as a result, these games feel... This game felt adequately long when realistically it's like a 12-minute game, because Jurashik had his first units in base at like 4.5 minutes. So kind of an interesting matchup, but a very well played game by Ramix, honestly. Arrow is the top civ on this patch, and Jurashik's no slouch with him. I think he plays him quite a bit in Quick Search on Robot Patch, and Ramix just had all the right decisions. His building placement especially was just beautiful in the early game. Did a very good job of using his villagers in the mid game to help navigate any sort of difficult points that he may have. Used them at one very key point to snipe down the war chief and remove that bonus from the fight. And as a result, a well-earned win for him. Very well played, and a decisive game one in his favor.
Absolutely.
Or the dog says something interesting.
Wow, if the dog said anything at all, I'd be quite surprised, other than woof.
I've never seen that dog either.
Maybe it's not a real dog. Maybe he's just got a recording.
He's got a tape recorder.
It's just a tape recorder and a speaker.
To the back of his door, yeah.
just taped to the door. just to see how long. Maybe it's like a documentary. They're working out how long it takes the citizens in the where you're staying and where you're living to sort of do something about it. That's I'm trivializing the whole thing. This is serious, and that's not.
I'm pretty sure that dog is just. I've never seen that dog. Is the thing. Like, you would think. Like, I've lived in this apartment now for 1.5 years, right? And you would think that I would have seen that dog at least once. I mean, it's been my neighbor for an extended period of time. I've never seen that dog. I don't think he just ever takes it out, or I don't know. I don't get why you would have a dog and
not take it anywhere.
And then not take it anywhere or do anything with it, or bring it outside once in a while or anything.
Poor doggy.
Frank or Z Bible Thump. I quite liked that map. It's a really nice one.
Yeah, I liked it too. Like the only thing I didn't like about the map, and it's not really something that is to dislike, it's just I would quite like to see the sort of trade route edges rounded a bit rather than being so straight. But I'm not even sure if that would look. Yeah. I'm not even sure if that would look better because of the way the limitations on actually you can't round it where you want it to go round. It has to go in like blocks of the straight line that are roughly, I don't know, 1/8 of a screen or something like that. And I know this from the scenario editor, but the map was as a map, and for competitive games, that's the important thing. Was a really nice map. I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that I noticed as well, this map only had a single coin mine in base, whereas a lot of Garge's maps have 2 coin mines in base. It still had a good second coin mine, but it wasn't as coin heavy, right? Which I think was kind of nice.
Yeah, and it's nice to see sort of that robot patch flair that the maps used to have. And I think, because Gaia was making the maps, he would make trading post maps that had good resources and 2 mines, and that's because those were the kind of maps he liked to play on, I suppose. But I guess it is interesting to see maps that don't have all of the traditional features that players really like to play on. I was surprised that Indonesia even exists, considering Gaia has not ever shown me any desire to play on water maps.
Yeah, that's fairly true.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to the next one. I wonder what it's going to be. And hopefully this will go all 7 games so that we can see all 7 of the maps. And if they're not shown today, I'm sure they will be at some point in the future. But if you want to watch them right now, or see them right now, these maps, that is, go down to eso-community.net or take a look on the ESOC YouTube channel. I believe I got a notification on my phone before Smackdown started that they had uploaded a video about some maps. And I'm not sure what that video is, but could be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to taking a look at that as well. But game number 2, about to get away on Tassali.
Tassili?
Rip Zuta.
Yeah, I'm trying to rejoin. I couldn't click into the map.
Well, it's got the Amazonia tile set. Well, maps tile. The picture of Amazonia is on the top there. So I imagine that this is a place possibly in Brazil. Or at least near the Amazon rainforest.
No, I think so I've seen it one time before. It's like the Sonora tile set. So it should be the Sonora one, I believe.
Oh, maybe this is the default picture set then. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. Because Tassali to me sounded like Tassili. We're gonna have to have someone tell me how to do that.
Tassili. Well, let's call it Tassili.
All right. It sounds like
you silly.
It sounds like it sounds like somewhere. Like it could be in the Amazon, at least to me it does. Like that's what I would expect somewhere in the Amazon to sound like.
Tassili, yeah.
I don't know. That's why I said that. This is clearly showing my ignorance with regards to geography. If this is somewhere absolutely on the other side of the planet, but we are about to find out where it is and what it looks like. And I'm looking forward to this. Zuta, are you ready to click in, or is it still downloading?
I still can't click in.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna pause the recording and we'll resume when we're actually starting.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Ooh.
Sun's out, guns out.
Let's get into this one on Tassali. We do have China versus Dutch, and I imagine the players know more about the map than I do. But perhaps these civs will be appropriate for the maps. We'll see if there are any defining characteristics on them that perhaps are more favourable for these civilizations. Either way, China does come out. Euroshik, I know, is a fan of China and is certainly very good as China. This is one that I am looking forward to. Let's turn Control-Shift-F on so that we can have the authentic feel of discovering the map for the first time. Though that's not really how it works, because normally you'd go in with some sort of assumption of what it will be like, at least. But I think this is nice. We can discover it as it goes, because I've not personally seen this one, though I have seen a number of them. But China, here he is in the south of the map in the colour blue, playing as indeed China. Or Euroshik.
China playing as China.
China playing as China, absolutely.
Classic.
Going to pick himself up 40 XP there, get that first shipment that, of course, Northern refugees coming a bit sooner. And I imagine we'll see 2 villages come out of him, or perhaps a trading post. We have seen that from Euroshik as well. Certainly does have options, and certainly there is a defendable trading post very nearby. There it goes down, absolutely. Let's take a look at the Control-Shift-F off again and see if there are any treasures nearby that he is missing out on. 60 wood very nearby. His disciple looks like it's going to find that, though, so not too much of a problem on the other side of the map. A doggy, or a cow rather, which I know Aze is very fond of. 55 coin down here, so nothing huge that's horrible, but certainly the trading post is going to be very, very good for China with their Fortress Age agenda. Here we do have Ramix playing as Dutch in the north of the map in the colour red. And indeed, going for a Cherokee Rifleman. That's an interesting treasure.
Yeah, I undervalue those treasures so much. These random native scouts, they're so good at like denying any sort of forward base and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I consistently undervalue them, and I've noticed a lot of, especially like the 33 players, like they value them so much, because especially when you get them in like little groups and people are more apt to FB in 3v3.
Yeah.
Like you can just completely control the map, completely shut down team games with them, and as a result, even in 1v1, like I just undervalue them. But look at like the little army that he can have now. He's got that Cherokee Rifleman, the Envoy, and his Scout. Easily going to be able to kill any sort of villager. Now, it's not likely that the Chinese player is going to be sending a villager
Can you
forward.
imagine? Forward stable or something coming out of China.
I mean, it could be like, you
Not
know,
stable.
there could be an opportunity where the Dutch player wants to
Academy.
do like a 5 or 6 bank semi-FF, like really slow and really eco-heavy, and the Chinese player realizes that and then sends a villager forward to try and get some sort of aggressive FF in, right? And it could shut down that as well, so... interesting little interactions. Northern Refugees coming as the first card, though, for Urashik. Completely standard. Only getting the 2 villagers off of that because he only has the single village opting for that trading post, like you mentioned. But still, 2 villagers nonetheless. And pretty good herding from him should result in a nice, strong, pretty good early age up. And we've mentioned this before, right? The trading post with China is historically quite good for very aggressive FF builds, which is something that I think that Urashik is going to be looking to do here.
So nice scenery on this map. It is water. I see it now. It didn't... I think maybe the bloom effect was ruining that for me, and it was too bright, and I couldn't actually see that it was water. But it's so obvious that it is now. But yes, trading posts... definitely very, very valuable. Perhaps it is worth the trade-off for the villager. Of course, in this matchup, Dutch, once they get up, they get a bit stronger as the game goes on due to having a bank. They're not as reliant on their shipments as some other civilizations when they go up to the fortress age. And as a result of that, perhaps a faster, more aggressive, fast fortress where the XP will be very valuable for getting out more shipments sooner and just being more aggressive generally will be outweigh the positives of having a villager there. Speaking of these native scouts, Zuta, we do have an interaction here with early conflict, though. Actually, the Cherokee Rifleman not going to save him as much as, well, but still definitely going to get lots of extra damage on this guy. Earlier, it did actually help him get some treasures as well, so definitely worth pointing out. These, especially in team games, as you were talking about, are going to help you run around, grab treasures, as well as deny forward bases. Is he going to lose the Cherokee Rifleman, perhaps here? A bit of an early conflict in Age 1 we do have.
Yep. And as a result, we can see he sent over a villager there to potentially snipe this treasure. They were both jockeying for position on this 75 food treasure, but we can see he's even gone back to his base. Not going to be too bothered with trying to get that. And as a result, it looks like Urashik will be able to deflect any sort of pressure here with his monk. Oh, look! Even in the offline version, he's got his Chinese monk named Papa Norka Mama Bobber.
The consistency is perfect.
Yeah.
I love this guy. Yep, that is
and
wonderful.
as a result, looks like neither player are going to be able to pick up that 75 food treasure, but Urashik going to run in here and pick up this quick little 10 coin, and we can see already Ramix has got his 1 bank down. It looks like
that villager's
both
going into the
sides...
town center here, aiming straight. Well, not actually. Did get one shot on the disciple, but still gonna pick up the scout as well. That's a nice 90 XP, and gonna deny Urashik any sort of scouting information on what Dutch actually has in mind here. Is Dutch building a stable? Is he not building a stable? He's not going to know that, though we perhaps will. The first bank does come down, and we'll have to take a look what his first shipment is. There it is. 700 wood does come out of the Ramex player. Their second bank going to go down, and we'll see what else he intends to build with that. Trading post? Really? Is that where the explorer's going? Doesn't... Okay, he stopped on the way. Perhaps it was just this 2 sheep there. Stable, that is the question, and I imagine we'll see one for the early cavalry raiding, and that's how you slow China down and, of course, make it a bit more difficult for them to get up to the next age safely with all their villagers still working. Deny some units because they won't be able to gather quite as many resources. Not coming down yet.
He might just go like full eco, like 5
and
banks.
And that has its merits as well.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, there's very few civs that can match 5 banks of economy early in the game. Now, of course, 5 banks of economy is 3,500 resources, which
sadly is no longer possible on this patch.
Is it? Oh, it isn't.
Yeah, but 4 banks though. Your point still stands,
yeah.
here.
Yeah, 4 banks, and still not many civs can match that. So I think we're going to see 700 wood, 600 wood. He's going to pick up some market tax on the 700 wood, and then as a result, should get his next bank here with the 600 wood, and then follow his opponent up in age. I'm glad you brought that up because I was so entrenched in the thought that he could make up.
Well,
to
maybe
6.
he is as well, right?
Yeah.
He could still be thinking, I'm gonna do my 5 bank FF, and it's not gonna work out, and he's not gonna be too happy. In which case, he might have actually wanted to, if he remembered or knew, he might have gone
I'm
for
still
a
waiting for like the O or something.
the triple dot in the chat.
Yeah. Oops.
You know.
Because that would have been me. I just got so used to the fact that Dutch could potentially make 5 to 6 banks, and it's not going to be the case here. Because he did make the market, less likely that he was fell into the noob trap that you and I did, and or I guess not you, me. I fell into the noob trap. And he's probably just going to have, a bunch of architects and stuff behind this as well. Something like hunting dogs, placer mines, and steel traps certainly is a good way to suck up 300 wood as well. So, looks like the next card is 600 wood as expected, and
oh, rip question mark. Zuta has gone. Where has he gone? Zuta died. Give it a sec. Well, now we wait. Well, let's try and get Zuta back.
that is so frustrating.
You just missed. Yeah.
I mean, it just I blue screened. Like it's the first time it's done it in like 3 years.
Oh, that's not good. I thought that thing was fixed.
I know. I thought it was.
Feels bad, man. Yeah. You started ringing me just as the timer ran out, and I thought, oh, come on, Zuta, you can do this. You can do this. You can get back. You have CPR to the internet, but the defibrillators did not work out in time.
My whole computer
I can share my screen though, and you can stream that for the remainder of the game.
All right, that's fine.
It was just gonna be sketchy as hell, but all right. Is it working?
Let's see. Yep.
Okay. Well, this is gonna be hilarious, isn't it? We'll see how this works out. But I think what you missed whilst you were gone is 2 Raxes and a stable coming out of the red player there. The blue player, though, okay, let's talk about him for a moment. We talked about this earlier trading post and this 1 less village he got as a result of the northern refugees here. He has gone up with this sort of forward village here and war academy. He didn't know if there was a stable going down because his scouts died, but it looks like he's taken the risk anyway, or did find some sort of information. And because these buildings are closer forward to his opponent, he's going to have a little bit of extra, sort of distance, or less distance rather, towards his opponent. He's going to be able to get in here faster and deal more damage before Dutch can really get out with the shipments. He's not gotten his military unit shipment yet from the Fortress Age. There it is, 8 skirmishes does hit the board, and now I think Dutch might be okay. Those Cav are going to take some damage on the way out there from those Reuters and the Minutemen, and possibly even the Town Centre fire. There are 10 villages in there, as marked by this 10 down in the bottom there. Papa Nork and Mama Bob are doing work. As the range on the skirmishes here, he's going to use that. He's going to deal as much damage as he can with his blue units there, whilst Papa Menorca is tanking up all of the red shots. Now that he's down, I imagine blue will get out and will be waiting for his next shipment. Of course, China has plenty of those to come, and it is by no means over. Look, there's the musketeers. They're not going to be particularly useful versus the skirmishers, but certainly a very strong shipment, right?
Yeah, I just turned back on the stream, so I want to catch people, because I'm sure people are like looking at my screen and thinking like, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, is he crazy? So
Rip.
It's so annoying.
Blue screened again?
Yeah, like the
That's...
second I got it turned down, like.
Oh dear. That's, gotta be pretty sad.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna be done, honestly.
You're finished for the day?
Yeah. Well, I can't, like, my computer won't stay on for more than 10 minutes at a time.
Has it been... Do you want to try the next game, or you like, don't want to take the risk of it happening
Well,
again?
are they done?
No, they're still playing this one game here.
Alright, well, I'm gonna do like I'm gonna do a crash dump quick and see, um, I'll turn back on stream, and then I'm gonna just leave the splash screen up with it muted, and then when they're done, we'll try one more time.
Okay.
I like the next game.
Alright, well, I'm not going to cast it without you. There's no point. Who am I even talking to at this point?
Yeah, that's fine. All right, guys. I deeply apologize. For some transparency, I was trying. I thought I haven't blue screened in 3 weeks, maybe more, and uh, now all of a sudden, like just boom, 2 times in a row. So it's really annoying, really frustrating for me.
Yeah, I can
But
imagine.
we're back now, and
Especially after 3 weeks, right? That's got to be like.
yeah, you would think like it would be fixed, but
Yeah.
but let's try again. Who won the previous game?
It's now 2-0 in Ramex's favor. Yeah, he just won with Dutch versus China. It looks like Ramex did not manage to... Sorry, Euroshik did not manage to get as much early damage done as perhaps he needed to. And obviously we know Dutch has a stronger economy than China in the late game, and the rest took its toll. That was the story of that game in a nutshell, a very, very bland nutshell. But Zuta's back, and hopefully it will not break again.
Fingers crossed.
We do, though,
crossed.
have a development in the Zuta versus Dog
Yes,
story.
that's true.
Not much of a development, but...
You want to tell him what happened while we were down.
Alright, so Zuta, whilst he was fixing everything up, he was like, I cannot stand this dog is driving me nuts, and he gets up from his PC, he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna knock on his door, I'm doing it. And he walks out of his apartment, and I turn Skype up real loud and start recording, and I hear knock, knock, knock. Nothing. No dog, no barking of dog either. Which further adds to my theory that it is actually a tape recording, because...
Tape recording.
Yeah. But, nothing. No one answers the door, Zuta comes back and sits down. That's it. Not much of a story, but development nonetheless. And stay tuned, we'll have more on this story soon.
I was hoping you were going to say, like, that I kicked down the door.
Oh, I should have done.
Fought that
why did I use
guy,
that
like, you heard gunshots, and, like, I came back and I just, like... said what's done is done or something like that. And the dog just like wasn't making any more noise.
I wish I'd done that now. I did start recording with and turning Skype up real loud, so with the intention of hearing every part of the conversation, and of course putting it on YouTube, because Zuta gets angry at his next door neighbor's dog. Sounds like a hilarious video, but
Yep.
Oh, I should have done that. That would have been perfect.
What's done is done. Let's not speak of this ever again.
He can trade a new one for 75 food.
Pretty funny. But no, that guy's just clearly not there, just leaves his dog at home, and he's probably just unaware, because I'm sure when he comes home, right, his dog is just like happy to see him and like just doesn't do anything. And the second that he leaves, he probably is completely unaware that the second he leaves, that dog just barks for hours on end.
That sounds like the case. But the next map does look like Mendocino.
Mendocino?
Mendocino. Well, that goes to show my awareness of other pronunciations and languages. But who was the person you said made these? Certainly we all know Gaia's name. That needs no repeating.
Rikikipu.
You what?
Rikikipu.
Rikikipu.
You what, mate?
What are you saying?
I saw the best you what, mate picture of all time yesterday.
Yeah.
Parrot and cat.
Link me in Skype.
What, mate?
I want to see this.
I have to find it. Is it? Here it is. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna bring it on to stream as well. Oh.
Right, I've got to wait for the gift to start. Let's just reload it. Fucking bird brain. What? Fuck that you had. Hey, please don't hurt me. You fucking want me?
That bird.
Where do you source these from? This, like, you've told me before. Yeah, I was just on Reddit looking at cute animal pics. This only reinforces that. You know, I thought you were joking.
I love the cat. Oh, he fucking hurt. Please don't hurt me.
Oh, wow. that was fun. I enjoyed that.
It's an instant classic.
Instant classic. I got that into the previous H2O Explains, by the way.
Instant classic.
Yeah. I was thinking, Zuta, we should, and I'd do all of the editing, but we should do a podcast.
All right.
So all I would require from you is for you to write down in your phone about interesting things that happened during your week that you would talk about on the podcast, and we'll pick the best ones and we'll complain and do all sorts of discussions about things.
All right, I'm fine with that.
It might be I think it would start off being maybe an hour, less than an hour, but if we did do several episodes, I can see it getting longer and longer and longer, like every other podcast I've ever watched. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 3 in this best of 7 series between Euroshik and Ramex. I'm tempted to say Ramex 12, because I believe that is his name on ESO.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Of course, here you can be called whatever you like, and your home cities can definitely be over 9,000. But this is another new map. What was it called?
Mendocino or something like that.
Mendocino. All right. Okay. Well. Here's what it looks like. I'm immediately enjoying this one. I'm gonna put the Control-Shift-F on. We're gonna look around as sort of the game unfolds. But let's start with the south of the map here. The color yellow. Here we do have Ramex playing as indeed Russia. This will be fun, right? Russia versus Spain. Here is Euroshik in the north of the map in the color red, playing as, of course, Spain. Russia versus Spain. This is a matchup of Vanilla 1, and both civs not particularly high up the tier list, so to speak, on RE patch, which is what we are playing here. So, because of that, could see a interesting game between two civs that don't get much representation. Is going to be fun, I would imagine. Ramex, level 100.
Look at him go! Yeah, good for him.
Nicely done. Let's turn Control-Shift-F off, because Ramex is about to find the XP crates down in the chasm below, which, by the way, is absolutely wonderful. Like, this map is sort of, you've got that high plains feel to it, the trade route across the top, and sort of similar amounts of hunts and mines, I suppose. The treasures are, perhaps similar, I'm not sure, I haven't looked at them too much, but you have in the middle of the map this giant chasm, which sort of separates the map up a bit, and makes it a bit more closed off, and Age of Empires 3 maps traditionally are always very, very open, except the ones being made for ESOC, and I personally quite like this. It makes the map look very nice, because it's different, and I've not seen this done on a map before, and it still adds just a nice sort of, it's going to influence your strategy, right, this sort of chasm. But the XP treasure specifically, I believe, is obtainable, and I wonder if the chat can work it out before we talk about it in a bit. But,
wait, is it?
It is. Maybe you can work it out in a bit.
You can get to that XP crate.
Yeah. Do you want to think about it, or shall I just tell you? I'll just tell you.
Wait, let me think for a minute.
You know it. I know you do. Imagine, you've seen players do it before, trying to get through walls.
Oh, can you, bug a Vil down there?
Yeah, you can bug a Vil down there and gather up this 100 XP crate, which I believe is the optimal thing to do currently, but is just ridiculous, so I imagine this will get removed, this XP crate, and something else will take its place that is also interesting to look at. But, yeah, you can try and bug a Vil down to the bottom there and pick up 100 XP, and it's kind of worth doing, I guess.
How would you actually do it? I don't know that I've ever seen something go, down in elevation like that.
Well, you can certainly go up in elevation. When I do my speed run, I exit off the boat, and you can just ungarrison units in the most ridiculous places, and they climb up like a 100-foot cliff, and it makes no sense. And that's actually how I sort of bug out the final map and win the game. Rather than a 25-minute game, the final map's actually a 2-minute mission or less. But 3 War Dogs for Euroshik there. I'm not sure if he picked them up. And by the looks of it, yeah, he rescued 2 War Dogs, though. Is playing Spain, so does have the potential to also train War Dogs. This is one of those fringe case scenarios where actually this War Dog treasure is perhaps not so good for Spain compared to other civs, because once you capture the War Dogs, you can't actually train more. These count towards your build limit, which is interesting and very, very fringe, and possibly not even that bad for Spain. It's so unlikely. It's
still a 160 food treasure at the end of the day, right?
True, because and it picks him up 80 food, right, and the potential to win in this scout fight.
Yeah, and win hard. I mean, those dogs, even though his Explorer is very, very low hit points, he's only at 25% of his hit points, these 3 dogs with their 15 hand attack would absolutely demolish that Explorer in a very, very quick amount of time. So, smart decision by Ramex to back away from that situation and keep going on his way. But this is, I think, going to be an interesting matchup, because this is one, like you mentioned, that doesn't get a lot of love on any patch, really. So I'm kind of curious to see how this will play out.
Yeah, though actually, I heard interesting, a birdie told me that Spain was considered one of the top tier civs on ESOC patch due to this new trading post shenaniganry with the ATP and the fact that they're so very, very difficult to kill. And Spain is one of the only civs that can actually get that in, get that second colonial age shipment in, compared to a lot of other civilizations not being able to do it. But that's not what's going on here. This is sort of traditional Spain on RE patch, which was always not particularly good, and Russia, as you say, as well. So I'm interested to see how this pans out. Definitely civs that don't get much love, as you said, but looks like, here we go, the full route is going down. Look at that, 3 trading posts already being slammed down for, of course, the Russian player here, the Spanish player, and he's going to go for ATP as well. So what I said, definitely very relevant here. Maybe still, actually, there's no reason you couldn't do it on this patch.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's realistically all that's changed about Spain between EP and RE patch are a couple unit shipments getting a couple of extra units in them, right?
Fortress Age units getting slightly stronger, and I can't see that. That's only really going to make a huge impact in the power of their fast fortress. Going straight up with the 7-minute 30 and getting your units out as fast as possible. This is clearly more economic, and those unit shipments will be a marginal difference, though still a difference, and still would make them better on ESOC patch, definitely, but marginal to say the least. And here, 3 trading posts coming out. They're very, very strong units, and they have 25 ranged attack. It's like an outpost right here. But Russia, what is he up to? Distributivism has been sent as his first card, and we do have a very, very aggressively placed blockhouse. This is extremely aggressively placed. We do have 5 Cossacks coming out straight away. They're going to capture the dogs. Nicely done. That's quite a lot of food that represents now gone, and they're not going to make any difference in the next fight here. But tower is up, and of course that is going to be useful for Spain here. How much damage will this Explorer and the muskets and the Cossacks be able to do?
Got 1 villager, which is more than I was thinking it was going to. The herding by Urashik was quite good. We can see obviously that Urashik is just doing some sort of TP economic FF. And 1 vil down, going to be able to probably get the tower here as well and continue to do a little bit more raiding. One thing that I did note about this map, which is going to be quite impactful in this game, is that it's once again sticking with the theme of fairly low hunt.
And 2 trading posts again, look at that as well. But these is actually a separate route, and on the previous map, but go ahead, low hunt.
Yeah, low hunt, and as a result, I mean, take a look at Spain's base. He's got 4 standing deer, and after that, he doesn't have any deer left.
And now
down.
All the bills are filled up, 700 wood stuck on the floor. Is he aging? That is, let's take a look at the text being researched. Yeah, he's got his age up in queue, but everything belled up right now. He's not going to be able to get the racks or the houses down with this wood. Look, all the vills coming out. They're coming out right now. They need to get a little bit of extra time, but sadly, being kept in this aggressive blockhouse placement, paying off, though it is a risky one. This can easily be sniped by Minutemen, should you see it going down. But Spain is not going to be too happy, but he did get the age up in.
Yeah, he got the age up in, which is important. Going to be aging with the Hussar as well, which will help him. If he can get enough resources to get Minutemen out, the Hussar and the Minutemen should be able to drive back any sort of pressure that the Russian player is going to throw at him, especially now that he's got the 8 pikes. Remember, he does have the 3 trading posts, so he's sitting on a wealth of XP at this point. And it looks like
back with the pikes.
Yeah,
yes,
you're going to use that. Should be aging up here pretty quick. If you take a look, well, he's only 60%. Hashtag Spain no fast age, but once he does get aged up, if he can get the resources required to get Minutemen, that's, I think, going to be the very important thing, because we can see currently does not have the resources required for Minutemen. This villager is desperately, I think, trying to gather up enough coin to actually get there, but that's going to be a little bit tricky, right? Like, if he doesn't get the resources for Minutemen and he can't get enough units, these pikes, the Minutemen, and the Hussar all combined together at once, that's really what he needs to be able to get out of this kind of mess. And I don't think he's going to get the resources required. He's soon going to have the age up done. We can see he's at 98%. He's almost going to be out, but doesn't have
it, yellow player does exit his base and gives him the opportunity. He needs to get the coin. I think with that coin, that is going to be what he needs. The Minutemen plus these 4 cav and the 8 pikes. That is, I think, going to be able to hold it for him at least until the 5 lancers come down. Remember this? Oh no, wait, that's vanilla. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought different patch, and for some reason I thought Spain was had a 5 lancer shipment. But 4 lancers could be what he needs here if he pops that out. But then actually no population.
Yeah, this is going to be tricky still. Fortunately for Red, this hasn't been scouted. Uh, this would be an opportunity where Ramix could look around the base, say, "Hey, there's like no structure here."
Come on,
I think he
Spain.
thinks he can just get the TC, but
He's
the
going to have
safer
to
thing
fight.
would
I
be.
can tell the Minutemen are coming right now because it's getting low and he's not going to come. Oh, perhaps not. Minutemen must be coming. They're going to, otherwise he wouldn't be posturing his units like this.
Yeah.
There they are. Minutemen do come out, but perhaps on the wrong side. I'm not sure how effective they're going to be. The pikemen heading back. Two cannons do arrive at the same time. Nicely done. The MLG 360. Do we get a volley off? Not quite.
No.
That would have been, he needed to get that volley. The extra damage on these musk would have been good. I'm not sure how he managed to get that done. Must have got these houses up and then snuck in that 10 population Falx before I noticed that the pop was in use.
He's very lucky this location hasn't been scouted out, because that's 40 population of houses that would be undefendable at this point
and
for
being
Red.
destroyed currently if he'd find them, right? Because he's nothing left except the TC, and I think Ramix knows exactly what he needs to kill, and that is the houses that are surrounding the town center. But the houses are in this location. They are safe. They are away. And here we do see Ramix. He does not want to fight now the cannons, right? He's perhaps waiting for more things to come before he does, and it does deal with that. But the military unit's still going to be used usefully here. Going to be killing the, of course, trading posts. Going to start dealing with those. We do have a stable, and that looks like perhaps the way he is going to be dealing with the cannons.
Yeah, certainly going to be taking down some of these TPs. I'm still a little bit sad that he hasn't scouted over here. He's got really two things that he needs to accomplish here with his pressure in the next couple of minutes. He needs to control this location to deny any source of hunting, and if in the process he can scout this out, that's 4 houses that I don't think the Spain player can really afford to lose at this point. If you take a look at his base, he is already struggling to get up the population space just to support what he's currently got, and losing those 4 houses, that's 400 what he cannot allow himself to lose. Ramix's army is growing to a very scary number here. We can see more military units getting added into the mix, getting a couple of cav here as well.
The house is going down so quick with all that siege.
Yeah, but I still think Russia is in a perfectly fine spot.
Yeah.
Spain's economy is, look at the economic unit population, 15 to 35. Spain has to win very soon, or there's no way he's going to be able to keep up with Russia's economy.
And I wonder how he's going to do that, right, with such a poor economy. 15 villages, not very much, has probably not been able to train very many, did not manage to gather very many resources whilst he was being built up. But we can't forget, right, he did send ATP, and he did have 3 trading posts up for a very long period of time, and until only just now, he's just only spent the next shipment. I think he's only just got the population available to do that, and he's like almost halfway to his next one. So I imagine we have 2 military unit shipments in queue right now, one probably about to pop any second now, and that will be his next one, and then after that another one I think as well. We'll see what it will be, but yeah, there's 4 lancers, and I think there's one on its way as well right now. Maybe 5 war dogs do come out as well. You can see Spain gearing up to push out whatever it is that he is able to do do some damage and sort of win soon. You were mentioning, he's on a clock, and he absolutely is. He knows it. The War Dog's coming out, and with the Lancers arriving, that tells him it's time to go. Russia has a very scary army and the potential to rebuild it as well. We'll have to see how this fight goes, though. Can he get this blockhouse down? He's got a lot of siege, and that'll be really good for him if he does get it down. The cavalry look like they're getting into position to flank around the back there. Cannons doing the MLG 360, not too good for them. The pikes get in queue, and the path do get scared off there. But the musketeers just going to do the old Japan strat and just run in there and deal with them in the way Japan does. But actually only gets one of the Falcons and the Lancers and the cannon fire. Gonna do a lot of damage here. I think Spain, this engagement going pretty well for him. Yeah, so far so good, but remember, he doesn't have a ton of reinforcements off the back of this, and he needs to be very judicious with how he guards that cannon. Fortunately, this cavern that's to the north of him has done a good job of protecting. Fuck. Zuta Ripperino. see how this rest of this fight goes. Of course, I still have my local recording and intend to see how this fight works out. Lancers doing really well, of course. The Strellet are going to get absolutely shat on by these Lancers, which, of course, are Strellet-destroying machines. The Cavalry, the Yellow Cavalry, that is, have not managed to get up to the Falconet here. That is still full HP, and looks like Russia has been entirely cleaned up. Spain, done what he needs to do, has managed to kill this, and the amount of XP he is going to get from... Look at that, 2 shipments just spammed down instantly. I noticed that the number 2 came here. He's going to have 2 shipments in queue, and Spain might well have the potential to finish out this game, despite the terrible economy he has. Though, you know, still 20 villages, definitely nothing to scoff at, and that is going to add in a few skirmishes here and there. That is the key problem for Spain right now. He doesn't have very many skirms at all, and that is really where Spain lacks in the department. Of course, they do not have any skirmisher shipments or any sort of ranged infantry shipments at all of any description here. The villages for the yellow player do get pushed off, and of course, that means they are no longer going to be able to gather hunts. They're heading in this direction. I'm not sure if he scouted this location. Who knows where they are going? But of course, the red trading post is going to find them and does do 25 attack damage. Of course, not very good against villages, but that's not the point. The scout, it has done that. It's scouted these villages out, and there are no hunts left. Where is yellow going to gather food from? There is this location over here. Looks like they're going to head over to this and start gathering wood. What do we have? Some cavalry do come in. The cannon is exposed. There's nothing here to stop it. This might be Russia's ticket back into the game. Without the cannon, it does not look like Russia is going to be able, Spain is going to be able to keep going here. That cannon was really what was providing him the power to keep the infantry at bay and really start, you know, piling up the pressure there. Now that that is gone, these cav perhaps a little bit late to the fight. If the cannon had moved back a bit, maybe he would have been able to protect them. Boyars does come in for Russia, a very, very strong shipment. These Cossacks are definitely going to be much stronger now. 10 pikemen do arrive, but without a cannon to protect, I can't see them being particularly useful, and that is, of course, going to be a shame. It looks like we do have Zuta back. This fight, though, done really quite well for the Spanish player, but Russia now back in the mix now that the cannon is gone, and this is the point where I'd hand it over to Zuta, but of course he cannot see anything. How are you doing, Zuta? You are back. Are you streaming?
No, I'm not.
Well, you can say hello to the local recording.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be done streaming for the day, but yeah, if you share your screen, we can finish up the loop.
Oh, I hung up on Zuta by mistake. That is not good here. I am now back. Sorry, I went to click the little plus and then share screens, but I disconnected the call instead, which is not very good. But we do have these pikemen. They are now being pushed back. Of course, without that cannon that the Russian player was able to snipe, these pikemen do not have much of a purpose, as I mentioned, and that is a real shame for him here. Russia now back out on the map. Spain is not able to stop this, and that was almost Spain's ticket back into the game. Almost had this, and I think if that cannon was still alive, it certainly would have been more difficult for Russia, absolutely. But Russia still has huge amounts of villages, right? 30 more villages than his opponent. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, a bit, yeah, basically almost there. Back out on the map, now gathering food, has access to all of these hunting locations and this coin mine, and actually, more importantly, perhaps is going to deny Spain the ability to gather this here. Spain, oh, actually, no, he does have a hunt. It was hidden up by the trees. I did not say that. Do you have anything to add, Zuta?
Yeah.
Or has your absence...
No, so the interesting thing here, right, is it comes back to the map control game, and Ramek still hasn't done a great job of controlling that left side of the map. We can see those houses that have been up over by the coin mine for the entirety of this game are still up, still actively gathering resources and controlling population infrastructure over there. And like you mentioned, that hunt on the left side of the map as well, providing a lot of resources that could, I think, fairly easily have been denied by the yellow player at this point. So Spain's still in a pretty big hole. Still needs probably a small miracle to be able to make some sort of comeback. But realistically, actually, before I died, I thought he was in a considerably worse position. So it looks like he's getting back out on the map a little bit, trying to control a little bit of the
Look
map.
at that. Oh, the cavalry not going to be too pleased with that. But, of course, their Strele buddies are just behind them going to sort that out. And I think... you said he was just short of a small miracle to finish this out. I think with units on both sides, the Spaniards are trapped in this hole, and Yurashik does resign there. That is the finishing blow to this game. But Zuta, you missed out on the Spanish player absolutely sweeping that fight that you just disconnected from, and managed to push back out, take the map away from the yellow player, and deny the resource locations. But then... the cannon that he still had remaining was not protected. It did get sniped by some random cavalry that managed to find it. And sadly, I think that was, the only thing
kind of
keeping
tipping
Spain in
point,
the
yeah.
game. And I'm not even sure with that cannon whether or not he would have been
Yeah,
able to.
the one
perhaps keep
interesting
going.
thing about that fight that I saw before I disconnected was he had his northern flank really, really well defended from that cavern, right? From that little middle piece. And as a result of that, he didn't have to have an overwhelmingly large amount of army because he was able to defend his two cannons by just kind of smashing everything up into the corner there and just like kind of wedging himself in a tight little ball. And it was a very difficult situation for the Russian player to try and get up and get in those cannons' face. We could see that the pikes were able to easily defend the cavalry from any flank. And as a result, Remix just had to run forward with his muskets and try and snipe them, brute force them down in that way, which is never a great thing to do, especially with Russian muskets, which are like paper when it comes to fighting against cannons. So a really inefficient trade there. I'm sure that shows on the graph if you look at the post game. And it kind of, yeah, look at that military unit population, just brutal how that fight went. And as a result, Spain had a breath of life there for a minute, but unfortunately the Russian player still had just a superior economy. Yeah, I can see the all resources graph now. It's just insanely in favor of the yellow player, right? And as a result of that, was able to easily remass and get back. So as a result,
I think the only way he would have ended up winning that one, right, is if with that single cannon he'd had left and that big victory he had in this location, perhaps if he had managed to keep the yellow player off gathering resources, he could have kept it going. But that was not the case, and it certainly would have been difficult even with that cannon. But that is the end of game number 3, and Zuta, your PC seems to be having blue screening issues still. I believe that's the last one from you then.
Yeah, that's going to be it for me, unfortunately.
Right, but we did get sort of 2.5 games in, I suppose, for Saturday Smackdown. Thank you very much for watching. Do leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And me and Zuta will see you all again next time.